Hey guys and girls, how's it going, and welcome back to another episode of the Diamond Gear with myself, Lewis. Hope you're brilliant, having yourself a great day as always. What do you think of my new room? This is going to be my functional room, as I like to call it. It's going to be where we test new things and try and come up with funky ideas. And I think it's a kind of nice place to do it. I've thrown down a load of day blooms in the corners, so we've got a little bit of power in here. We can generate some mana for all of our little gizmos and things. And the idea is to come up with simple plans, because as far as Botania goes, I'm still very much in my experimental phase, where I'm trying to figure out how things work and how you can get things to function together and all that good stuff. And that's the joys of playing with new mods, isn't it? So I'm pretty excited to get a little bit more involved. Now, I've been playing with some more functional flora, and I've also made myself another one of these cool things. I've made a Sojourner Staff. A Sojourner Staff, I think it's called. Sojourner Staff? Something like that. And what this guy does is it basically gives me a speed boost and jump boost. And I think you can traverse over one-high blocks and stuff. It's kind of cool. So if I was like to run up here, I should be able to just run up it. Yeah, it's nice. Helps out quite a bit actually, so definitely worth investing in. Now, I've just come over from my old base and I've grabbed a few bits. Some of the stuff that was inside the chest from the totemic totem that was killing all of the mobs and hoppering all of the stuff into the chest below. And I just want to grab all these because the chances are we're probably going to be using them at some point today, so I thought it would be handy to get as many as I can. Let's throw all this stuff in here and our saplings. We're definitely going to need bone meal today, so that's one thing we're going to have to remember about. And the seeds. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to play with a couple of new flowers, and we're going to come up with a way to farm ourselves a couple of items. So in the last one we made a way to farm the cacti, we farm the reeds. This time we're going to try and farm coal or charcoal, and we're going to try and farm wood. And if we can get round to it, we're going to farm ore, if that's a thing. It's definitely doable, it's just kind of expensive. So let's have a little sleepies, and we'll get round to it. Another thing with the Botania updates is I mentioned in the last episode about a auto updater. Unfortunately, that's had to been taken out in the latest version due to a few errors. You can go onto Vasky's website, and on there you'll be able to see the reason behind it. I believe it's something to do with an ISP problem, but yeah, you can go and check that out. Alright, so what we're going to do first, let's play with some wood farming. Yes, because wood is a thing that everyone needs, isn't it? It's a simple early game thing that you can't be without. So what we're going to have is we're going to get ourselves a couple of bits. First thing's going to be a load of mana spreaders, and I've made loads of stuff. I hope this is going to be enough, otherwise I might have to take a quick cut and make some more of it because it takes ages. But I've made some mana spreaders. We're going to need some of these guys, some mana pools. So let's grab our mana pools. And we're going to need some hopping flowers. We're going to need some of these guys. Now, these are called Ranunculus, and they're pretty cool. You can go check them out inside your Lexica Botania. But what the Ranunculus does is any block that's placed next to it, so if you throw something next to it, like a piece of dirt, what it's going to do is it's going to take that piece of dirt and it's going to place it around it. But the funky thing with a Ranunculus is it's only going to place what you throw at it on top of a block that is placed below it. So the designation point in which where it's going to put the block is designated by the block that's planted below the Ranunculus. So let me try and explain how this works. So if we put this guy, we're going to want a mana spreader here. So we have a mana spreader there. So let's get this working. So let's have a mana spreader here, which is going to get its mana from all of these plants, and it should stretch out to the back of here, I hope. Yeah, I can see it stretching out that way. Alright, so that's going to go there. And then what we're going to have is we're going to have the mana go up. And it's going to go to probably around here-ish, if I can get it coming back down. Yeah, this should work fine. So let's get rid of this block. There we go. And on this one, we're going to have some dirt. So let's use our Rod of the Land. We'll place down some dirt. And then next to this, we're going to have our Ranunculus, which is probably going to go here. Now, if we left this as, so let's do it this way. So if I left down there as orange stained clay, and I put this down, and then our Ranunculus, like that, anything that I place next to it is going to try and get placed on top of what's below it. So it's only going to place what's on top of orange clay. And as there's no orange clay visible around here, it's not going to pick it up. But you can see that as soon as a piece of orange clay becomes available, so we've got orange clay down there, so that's a surface it can place stuff. If I throw that, it's going to go ahead and place that inside that block. See, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So if you want the Rune and Carpus to work properly, and for the purpose we want you to plant saplings, we're going to have to place it on top of dirt. So remember the block underneath the block that it's placed on. So now the Rune and Carpus is only going to place stuff on top of dirt. Doesn't matter what we throw, we can still throw stained clay, but it will only place it on top of dirt. So it's going to place it next to it. There we go, see? Alright, so how this is going to work is we're going to throw down saplings, and those saplings are then going to go ahead and they're going to get placed by the Rune and Carpus. So let's throw down a sapling. Let's just toss it around here somewhere, and it should plant that for us. There we go. One thing to remember as well, which got me on my test world like a million times, is if you do it outside and you place the Rune and Carpus on a grass block, remember that underneath the grass block is a dirt block. That literally kerfuzzled me. I had a complete blonde moment. So don't remember that if you're going to be doing this type of thing, it's best that you leave them as grass blocks if you're going to be doing like that. Or dig up the first block, place the dirt back down, then put the Rune and Carpus on top of the dirt. Otherwise, you'll be having a blonde moment like me, running around thinking, why isn't this guy working? Yes, that's what you do. Alright, so we've got our Rune and Carpus, and it's placing down our saplings for us. Brilliant. It's the only place that it can place the stuff, so anything that's dropped around it is only going to get placed on top of there. And while there's like there, it can't place anything else. So if I throw any more saplings down, it's going to just leave them because it doesn't know what to do. This guy doesn't require any mana, which is good. If you want to increase the mana range, I guess you can probably feed it some mana and it'll increase the mana range. It's kind of the same for the hopper hocks. So now that we've got that, we're going to want to place down a hopper hock as well. So let's put down a hopper hock here, and we'll use a bit more dirt. So let's put down a piece of dirt here. There we go, and our hopper hock. Cool beans. And now we're going to want a way to get rid of the tree. So the tree is going to grow. Okay, it's going to grow, and then we're going to want to break it. As we break the tree, the leaves are going to go ahead and disappear, and when they disappear, they're going to drop saplings, which is going to get picked up by our Rune and Carpus and placed back down again. Then we're going to have the wood from the tree fall down, and that's going to get picked up by our hopper hock. Cool. And what the hopper hock's going to do is that's then going to place it into some chests for us. So we'll have some chests around here for the hopper hock. But we're going to need a way to break this guy. And the best way to do that I found is probably by doing it like this. So if we come up here and we want this about 7 high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's put one here. Is that about right? Maybe a little bit more? Yeah, that'll do the trick. Cool, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I want any higher? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be alright. That should be fine. Alright, let's place this guy up here. Oh, there we go. Alright, and we'll get rid of these dirt blocks. Oh, there you go. It's picking up the dirt and trying to place it on the dirt. What a guy. We're going to need to be quick at picking this up. Whoop, there we go. Whee! Alright, so now that we've got that up there and it's working and doing its thing, we're going to want the mana to go up to this guy. So let's get this one aiming up here. We'll get rid of this guy so that I can aim this. And this isn't too easy aiming, but you can kind of get it about right. Are we a little bit? Where are we off? We're a little bit off at the minute. Once we see a burst, that's kind of your signal. And I just saw a burst. About there. Oh, a little bit further down. About there. Are we hitting it? I think we're a little bit off. Let's try to do this again. Alright. Hey, there we go. Alright, so that guy is going to be going up to there. So all of the mana we get from these day blooms is going to go up there. Let's place this one back down. Cool beans. And now we want this power to go down and destroy the sapling and all the good stuff about the sapling. Cool. And probably the best way to do this is going to be to have ourselves a mana pool about here. And then what's going to happen is this guy is going to fire and it's going to go to the mana pool. And if we get it right, it's going to go ahead and it's going to break everything as it goes down towards the mana pool if we use a bore lens. So let's aim this guy so that it matches up nicely. And we're probably going to want to go back up here. So let's go up this way. There we go. Maybe one more. We'll get rid of this guy. There we go. Oh, oh. Alright, let's get this going down to here. And you need to kind of get it so that it's just facing it. Like literally on the edge. So, is that close? On the edge? That's pretty much on the edge. And that's going to go through the tree. Hopefully the tree's not going to grow too tall as well. Otherwise we might have to move this guy over. So let's try and test this first. I might have to move the mana spreader above us along just one so it's above the tree. That might be something that we have to do. It might be worth putting another dirt block like there. If I can reach it. There we go. And that's going to limit the height of the tree growing. Okay. So let's go and test this with some bone meal. And we'll see how high this guy is going to grow. Let's get some bone meal from in here. Cool. I was going to use things like lily pads of fertility, but I couldn't see if they were actually working with trees. According to the wiki, they work on, not trees. So that guy grows. We're going to need a ball lens. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to cut through it. So let's go get a ball lens. There we go. And we'll pop this on this guy up here. There we go. Cool. So I went and broke the tree. Lovely jubbly. And it is going to try and place the wood. So this is where we need our chest. So let's go get a chest from over here. There we go. And we'll get some item frames. And what we're going to do is we're going to place a chest. We'll just place it here. Actually, no. Let's place it a little bit over. Let's place it here. I think this is going to be a good place to put it. We can put this torch in front of our sapling. Let's put it there. Alright, so we'll place that there. We'll put an item frame on this guy. And we're going to tell him that he can only accept the oak. So that way, once the oak goes down on the ground, it gets pulled up by this one. There we go. And we'll pop that stuff in there. And eventually, it's going to stop trying to place the wood because all the wood's going to go inside the chest. So if we throw down a sapling, it's going to only find the sapling around it and place the sapling, just like that. The hopper hock obviously can't pick up the sapling now because the chest's in the way. So if we try this again, so let's grow this tree one more time. There we go. That's going to go ahead and bore down. This could try and pick up the dirt or the oak wood, but generally it gets to it before the rune and carpus does. And there we go. So this is a fully fledged tree gen now. So this is going to go ahead and automate wood for us. Awesome job. We can go and get loads of good stuff like that. We can get all the wood that we need. We do have to be a little bit wary about the saplings. But generally the saplings, you know, they'll just despawn after a little bit. So I've got no worry just leaving a few saplings here and there. It's fine. And then with our additional mana, we're actually going to use that. So let's have our additional mana going this way. Cool. So that's going to take mana from our pool here, and that's going to recycle it for later use. We'll be using that later on for something else, but we'll leave it like that for the time being. Alright, so we've got one of our setups made for automating wood. Now we need to automate some charcoal. So I'm going to go and set this up again, and I'm going to set it up over here, and then we're going to add a few additional bits to it to make it automate the charcoal for us. Alright, so I've set up pretty much the same setup, except I've changed a couple of bits around. So this time, instead of having it on the right of the hopper hock, I've gone and put the chest on the left. And instead of having the mana go directly into a mana pool, we've got the mana going into a mana distributor. The reason behind having the mana distributor is I want the mana to go to two separate areas. And remember, whenever you're trying to build this sort of stuff when it comes to mana, mana's always recyclable, or recyclable. Recyclable. You kind of don't want to have it going somewhere and not being used. It always has somewhere to go. Unless you're allowing it to dissipate via the blast too much and you kind of just get nothing at the end. But really, you should be trying to think of ways to either loop your system or use the mana that you're getting. So hence why we're having all of these mana guys coming out over here. They're currently not going anywhere, but they will be eventually. So while that's doing that, we've got this pool filling up, which is doing these guys. The hopper hock and all of these are actually probably going to also be feeding from these as well. And one thing I have noticed is that if you want... I don't know whether this is meant to be like this, but I think it might work. Let's have a look. Yeah. Let's get rid of this one. Cool. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a weird thing happening sometimes where when you replace mana pools, the plants kind of latch onto one and they find it a little bit weird for kind of figuring out which one they want. I've had it sometimes where the plants won't actually latch onto any of them. If you move the mana pool, you have to break and replace the plants for them to find the mana pools. So just be a little bit wary of that sometimes when you're placing your plants and your mana pools. Just double check to make sure they are getting their power from somewhere. But you can see our Rune and Carpus and our Hopper Hocker getting the power from these guys. Like I say, you don't really need them getting power because it's so compact that there's no need for them to be getting power, as that only really increases range. But hey ho, there we go. Alright, so we've got this mana pool here and we want to do something with it. What we're going to do with this guy is we're going to use a different type of flower now. We're going to use one of these, which is called a spruce shelf. Yes, no, it's called an Exoflame. An Exoflame is another one of the flowers you can use that allow you to generate and make things. If we have a look in here, I'll be able to show it to you guys. So if we go down to the functional flora, we have the Exoflame. Now what the Exoflame does is pretty cool. So we're going to want to probably break these blocks. Let's put down some dirt. We want to try and get the Exoflame on quickly, otherwise more than likely it's going to try and do say, "Oldie, where's my..." Huh? There we go. Alright, Exoflame. So the Exoflame is going to be getting mana from this one here, hence why we've got two different ones. So I kind of don't want this one to get ran out too much. But we'll have this guy here. The Exoflame is going to get the power from this. Now what the Exoflame does is it powers furnaces, which is insanely cool. So any furnace that's kind of around it, instead of using charcoal or coal or any type of burnable material, the Exoflame, as long as it's given mana, is going to work like that. So if we take this one from here and we pop it down like that, this guy should now be powering, our Exoflame should now be powering our furnace, as long as it's got power, obviously. We can see if we click on it, the Exoflame is currently looking all good. So if we go find something that can be cooked, let's see if these guys can do any cooking. Can we cook these guys? No, we can't, but we can cook our wood. So let's grab some wood. And if we pop it inside our furnace, you can see that it's going to go and cook up. See, how cool is that? So it's going to use the power from the Exoflame, which is obviously getting mana from our mana pool here, and that's why we split the mana, so we can always have a little area for our Exoflame. And that's going to go ahead and cook it up and make charcoal for us. How awesome is that? Obviously, if we wanted to automate it a little bit better, then we're going to need some pipage. So let's go get some pipage. I think we're going to use some wood. Should we use some wood? Yeah, let's use some wood. Let's use some Buildcraft pipes, because Buildcraft pipes are fun. They look cool, don't they? And extra utilities ones are great and all, but sometimes they can be a little bit unpredictable. So let's make ourselves some of these. I can't remember if you have to use those or if it's planks. Ah, there we go, planks, cool. So we've got our wooden transport pipes. We're going to want some stone transport pipes as well, so let's grab some stone transport pipes. We're going to probably want a couple of these, so let's take a few of those. There we go. And we're going to want some... Let's throw this back in here. This clay, cool. And we're going to want some cobblestone. We're going to want some wood. There we go. Actually, have I already got some redstone engines? I might already have... Yeah, cool. We've already got some redstone engines. Awesome job. If you don't know what redstone engines are, then that is the recipe for them. It's probably been a long time since some of you guys have actually played with redstone engines. There might even be some of you that have never even played with a redstone engine, because there's not too many people out there who use them anymore, because there's not really much need, because you've got thermal expansion, what they're like. But a redstone engine basically is one of the first tier Buildcraft engines. It doesn't really power anything, but the wooden transport pipes that we're going to use in a minute, they require some sort of redstone signal to kind of pull them out. That's kind of how they work. So if we put a wooden transport pipe underneath here, this guy is not going to pull anything, so that's why we're going to need this to be able to do it for us. And we're going to want the items to come out of here and go into there. Maybe it's going to be best having it on top, actually. If we have it on top and we get our pipes like this, let's bring them along the top. There we go. That's going into there. And we're going to want a engine, so let's put that like that. And we're also going to want a lever. Let's see if I've got any spare levers. I have. Awesome. Let's put down a lever. And, you know, we'll probably pop it down here. I wonder if that's going to work. Yeah. Awesome job. Let's see if it pulls out the top. It does. Cool. So our wood's going to go inside our chest. It's going to come along. It's going to go into our furnace. Our exoflame from the residual mana we're getting from this is then going to go ahead and do that for us. How cool is that? Let's quickly have a sleep though, because it's dark. And I'm currently in my test area. When it's dark, things don't tend to work. We're going to get onto a better form of power soonish, but for the time being, the day blooms do the trick. But there we go. You can see that it's all cooking up. He's doing his thing. He's making charcoal for us. We can even have that coming out and going somewhere else. So let's have a pipe under here. There we go. So if we put a pipe under there and we get a redstone engine, let's put it a little bit lower down so we can't see it, 'cause sometimes it looks a bit ugly, doesn't it? And we'll put a lever there. And we'll have a transport pipe here. And let's use a barrel, because barrels are cool. Everyone likes barrels. Let's put a barrel on there. Yeah. Alright. That is looking cool. So let's flip this guy on. We'll do that. And we should have our items go into our barrel. Hoping that it's all working. Let's give it a minute, because the redstone engines do take a second to start doing their thing. And that's going to travel through and go into our barrel. Yeah. Cool. Alright. So, automated charcoal done. And we've got our wood done. They may not be fast. You might have to make these on bulk if you want lots of them. But, you know, if you're on a server and it's something that's running, you can just leave it. It's not like an engine that you have to keep restocking. It's just going to do its thing as long as it's daylight. And you're going to get yourself a load of charcoal and a load of wood, which is more than good enough for me. The last one that we're going to do is going to be not so much a useful way of doing things, but more a way of showing how stuff works. So we're going to set the same thing up again with the charcoal, and I'm going to show you what you can do with the charcoal to provide yourself a little bit more power for your network. Alright, so I've set it up once again as far as making the charcoal. I kind of folded it around a little bit, so what I've done around here as well is I've used some sandstone transport pipes, because sandstone transport pipes won't connect to anything except for another pipe, and sometimes you kind of want that to happen. So having these guys come out this side and not connecting back to your chest, you're good to use a sandstone transport pipe for that. Otherwise, if we put a regular stone pipe, it's going to try and connect to the chest, which we don't want. I've also noted that they do try and connect to the mana spreaders as well. I haven't had anything go through, but generally when something in Buildcraft goes through and it can't go to where it needs to go, it just pops out and falls on the ground. So to stop that from happening, in case it's going to happen, a sandstone transport pipe is probably your best one for that. So that's doing that, and that's going around there, and it's the same for this side. The reason I had to move it slightly is because the trees do need a certain amount of room to grow, otherwise they won't grow. And the way it was, having it come out over the top, the tree wouldn't have grown. So, yeah, we had to make it a little bit different. But this way, it works perfectly fine. So, we've got that coming out of there. I've put down a load of these mana pools over here. And this is all our current excess mana that's being used from our system and going over here into these pools. And then, you know, we're getting a fairly decent amount from these, actually. More than I thought for not using any of the efficiency lenses. But hey, there you go. Alright, so this is coming out of here. Now what we want our charcoal to do is it's going to come around to this side, and I want another one over here. I think that's going to work pretty well. So if we add another one of our spreaders, kind of coming out here, it's going to go into this one. So maybe about here? About there? Well, yeah, that'll do fine. Alright, we'll have that one there. And now we're going to put down some of these guys. So we've got our endo flames. And remember, the endo flames you can place down. We had some here, but I've moved them now. You can place them down, and what happens is if you put anything that's combustible next to them, so anything that's going to burn in a furnace as a furnace use, you can use with an endo flame, except for stuff that leaves a byproduct. So anything that's like a bucket of lava. If you burn a bucket of lava, you're left with a bucket, that won't work. So charcoal, coal, blocks of coal, anything like that is going to work perfectly fine. So we're going to have these guys along here. Let's get some dirt, and we'll put these around here. There we are. Let's just use 6 for the time being. Cool. So that's going to do that. You know, we might as well have the one at the back as well. Cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to feed a pipe that's going to run along the top of these guys. So let's bring this one up and round a bit. We're going to want a engine, so we can't forget that. So let's put an engine down there and a lever Have we got any sticks? Haven't. Let's go get some sticks, and we'll make ourselves a lever quickly. Well, any sticks? No, doesn't look like it. Alright. Let's make some sticks. Cool. Make a quick lever. Alrighty. You know, it's been so long since I've used Buildcraft pipes. This is kind of fun. It feels like you're playing with toy Minecraft. It's really weird, but it kind of just makes you feel like that. So let's bring these up. And once again, we're going to use a sandstone pipe on here because we don't want it going back into there. And let's bring it up and along. And we're going to want it coming probably around here-ish. Yeah, so we want it to come along here. There we are. And I'm going to need some more pipes. Let's get some more pipes. So we're going to want some stone. There we go. And we'll bring this, you know, I'll just do this along the ground. I can tidy it up later. Okay, so that's going through to there. Now what we want is kind of cool. This machine is awesome. It's from Botania, and what it does is it basically drops items, which is so funky indeed. We can find it inside our Lexica Botania. Let's have a little looky-see in here, and I'll see if I can find it for you guys. I think it comes under natural apparatus. Yes, an open crate. So sometimes devices like droppers or dispensers aren't precise or fast enough. A simple solution is to make a crate and punch a hole in the bottom. Yep, it's that simple. The open crate accepts items from hoppers or any other means of inserting items and obviously drops them directly below it. Cool. And it's made basically like this. So we use some living wood planks and that gives us a open crate. Now, obviously we have our living wood. We can make planks and all those sorts of bits out of these. There is a section inside the Lexica Botania for decorative blocks. So we'll make some of these. And I might use these at some point because they do actually look kind of cool. Like, I like the textures on them, so maybe we'll find a use for those. But let's make some of these open crates. So it's basically like that, I believe, and that gives us an open crate. And we're going to pop this one here. Cool beans. Alright. So now, hoping that everything's working correctly, we need to get down there and turn that lever on. Let's get this tree to grow. So let's give it some of the juice. There we go. And let's hope this works, because it's pretty much the first time I've built all of this. So that's going to come around there. It's going to go into our chest. Our engine needs to be turned on. That's one thing that's going to help. And that's going to pull the stuff out of there. Cool beans. And that's going to go around into our furnace, where due to our exo flame, it's going to be cooked and turned into charcoal. And then hopefully we're going to see it come around here, go around here, and into our open crate where it's going to be dropped onto our endo flames. The endo flames are then going to use the charcoal as power, and they're going to send the power into this mana pool right over here. Now the reason for all this mana pool and this random stony thing in the middle is, I think that if you've got a load of excess power that you're not using, even if we haven't got loads of power, because we're not really at the stage yet where we've got insane amounts of power, we're not really there just yet, we haven't got like stupid amounts of mana, we've got enough but not loads, but I think you should always be trying to do something with it, you know, if it's there, use it, instead of just storing it in pools, you might as well find a use for it, you know, we've got a little storage area over there, and that's more than enough for me. So what you can make are a couple of your flowers, your useful flowers, that actually require a massive amount of mana, and over time we can feed the mana to them. So if you're trickling the mana in, it's still going to work, it's just going to take some time. So if you're on a server, these things are perfect. But if we have a look inside our bookbinder and go to our Lexica Botania, I'm going to show you which ones I mean. So we have the functional flora, and one of the best ones is probably the orchid. So what this does is, while going mining is all good, a renewable means of getting ore is due. The orchid will use a massive amount of mana to generate ores in nearby stone blocks. The ores it generates are random, but seem to be biased towards more common ores rather than rarer ones. And it's not cheap. So you have to do all of this, you have to make a rune of pride and a rune of sloth, and they're not cheap either. But hey, you're getting ores for mana, so don't expect it to be cheap. The other one that's kind of good, I believe, is the Lunium. So any wary adventurer knows that dungeons can hold valuable goodies. The Lunium can, at the use of extreme amounts of mana, materialize these items and drop them in the nearby vicinity. So I'm guessing how that works is if you have it getting fed mana, the Lunium is going to tap in to the dungeon loot, all of the bits and bobs that you can have in your dungeon loot chests, and it's basically going to randomize it and randomly pick one and then spurt it out. And obviously if you've got yourself a hopper hock, you can go and pick that up. So maybe having some Luniums with a hopper hock next to it is going to get you loads of bits and bobs, all your CDs that you need. And I haven't got any music, so maybe I'm going to need me a Lunium. But yeah, there we go. You can see that it just picked that up, and one of our flames is doing his thing, and we're getting some power coming through. These guys produce a fairly decent amount of power. Now, the reason that I'm not using the wood directly into this, and I could be wrong about this, I've not tested this, there's not really an easy way of testing it, but I would guess that the charcoal would prove more efficient than the wood itself. So if we threw down like a block of coal, I would expect that to be better than one piece of charcoal. So that's why we're using the open crate. Plus, it gives you guys a chance to see the open crate, which is really the only reason I made this extra bit, just to show off the open crate. But yeah. Alright, so we got power going into these guys. Let's go and grab ourselves an orchid, because I've made an orchid. I haven't got a Lunium. I haven't been able to get the stuff to make a Lunium yet, but I've got an orchid. So let's pop this guy down around here. And we'll put down some dirt. And I have to admit, all these plants look insanely cool, don't they? Oh, that went a bit weird. Alright, let's try this again. Dirt. And orchid. Alright. So this guy is going to get power. And slowly but surely, from all the power that it receives, it's hopefully going to go ahead and it's going to move it all around. I think this guy's only going to latch onto this one pool here, though. So it might be worth using some of these, maybe, to change that. I could have it so that I have all of these going into a central one above that shoots down. That could possibly be a thing. That might work a little bit better if we have it going up and then doing that. These cables might get in the way, though. So for the time being, let's change this around slightly. So let's have... And that one's being caught in that, isn't it? Is that going through the flower? Directly into there? Is that going through the flower? Does it go through the flower? Must be going through the flower. Looks like it. Huh. Oh, we'll see. Alright, let's have a sleepies. I might have a fiddle around and we'll be back to see how this is working. Cool, so I've left it a little while and I'm starting to get myself some more coal ore. How cool is that? Yeah. I did have to, one thing I did have to do is I did have to restart my client for the orchid to actually start working. I found out of a few things now and then, but hey, it's still being worked on, isn't it? So you can't expect everything. But the orchid is now working after a quick restart. I remember seeing that before with the endo flames, but we seem good now and we're starting to get some coal ore coming up. Apparently it does prefer the, it goes for the weaker of the ores, but hey, there's nothing saying it can't get the better ores. It just sounds like a bit of a lower chance to me. But we are starting to get ourselves some coal. How cool is that? So we can take our coal and throw it on our flames. Yeah, loving it. I did have to, oh look, we've got some lead ore under there as well. Nice. Let's grab that guy and we'll throw these on here. See what other type of stuff we've got around here, if we've got any other types. Who knows? Oh, some copper. Nice. I did have to also kind of go underneath and dig out under there just to make sure that we're not getting any spawning in the stone below us, but we're good. Nice. Alright, so we're starting to get this stuff. Cool. So I can just leave this running and eventually get me loads of ores. Yeah, just something overnight. Oh, and we got another tree that just grew. Alright, let's layer this guy back up. All our stone. Cool. And I think we're going to call that a day, guys. We've done quite a bit. We've gone through. We've looked at how to automate a little tree farm, how to generate yourself some charcoal, a good place to use your charcoal for a bit of the old... Oh, that should cut that down. How to use your charcoal for generating a bit of power. So if you did that on a much larger scale, you'd be able to generate power pretty fast. And these guys, the Endo Flames, do seem to make power fairly quickly as well. So they're pretty good like that. And somewhere to spend all your excess power. You know, if you got a load of power, loads of mana that you're not using, you're just storing it inside your mana pools, put it to a bit of use. Throw down an orchid and some stone around it, or get yourself a lunium and a chest and one of the hopper hocks, and get yourself some free stuff. Everyone loves a bit of free stuff, don't they? Cool, alright guys, I shall see you soon for another episode. Have yourself a great day, have a good one as always, and goodbye.